Untamed.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The Platform.
iOS, it's only sport. Martin Devlin, Lachlan Waugh. This is the podcast version of the show that aired today, 1 till 4 on the Platform. We're on air every day between Monday and Friday. Special guests on this podcast include Warriors captain Tohu Harris, All Black legend Murray Mexted. He's talking about who the loose forward trio should be to start the first test against Argentina. Georgia Ponsonby, the Black Ferns are playing their first rugby test since the Women's World Cup final last year. That's tomorrow against Australia. Andy Raymond unfiltered out of Australia. Rhys Walsh, is 3 weeks enough? Yeah, let's talk about that. But as always, we start the program, tablets in hand. I say, gather my flock. It's time for a sermon. This one's about Reece Walsh. Let's go to the mountaintop.
We live in an amazing, amazing world, and it's wasted on the crappiest generation of just spoiled idiots.
Reece Walsh, guilty of a foul-mouthed spray at the ref on the weekend, that's the Broncos-Titans match, deserves his 3-week ban. In the wake of what Ben O'Keefe copped post the Super Rugby final, it was important across the codes that the NRL judiciary, I think, did the right thing and found Walsh guilty and suspended him. First and foremost, because he was guilty. And second, because these associations, these national bodies, have to stand up for and protect their own officials. Without refs and linos, there is no game at any level. We all know that. And over the weekend, we've seen two very obvious examples across the codes at how bad the abuse both on and off the field can get, which is why I was so disappointed in Mark Robinson's response. Instead of going public, instead of fronting the cameras, instead of facing the media and therefore the fans and everyone involved in the game and backing his guy O'Keefe, sending out a watery management speak, cliche-filled press release is just so goddamn lame. It took 2 hours and 40 minutes last night for the judiciary to decide that Walsh was guilty. And in the end, the chair, Jeff Bello, had to cast a deciding vote because the two-man panel of past player Tony Puliatua and the former ref Sean Hampstead couldn't agree. Walsh's defence was he was yelling at teammate Pat Carrigan. Let's all raise our eyebrows at that. Defence counsel for Walsh called on both Carrigan and Titans for David Fifita to give evidence. In the end, their testimonies were found to have lacked credibility because both players had spoken to Walsh prior to the hearing, and Fifita was referring to him as Reese boy while giving evidence. NRL counsel Patrick Knowles called parts of Walsh's own evidence demonstrably untrue and frankly incredulous. Look, of course the player Walsh was going to try and fudge his way out of this. And of course his fellow players will more often than not say whatever the offending player wants them to say. And I believe this is because of a natural suspicion and objection to the authority of the judiciary and its processes. Were they all lying? It's probably a bit harsh. More like telling fibs, yes. It's the us against them mentality. The players are the crims and the judiciary is the law. The job for the former is to do whatever it takes to dodge the charges, the latter to attempt to do the right thing under difficult circumstances with always conflicting evidence to consider. In the end, as I said, the right decision was reached. Reece Walsh cops 3 weeks on the sideline and hopefully the message gets sent that you cannot, there are no excuses. You cannot abuse the match officials. For the sake of sport, for all sports, he had to be punished. No, it won't stop it taking place, but at least it does point out that there is a consequence and that the ref, in this case, like O'Keefe, did not deserve what he got.
Devlin.
What do you want? We want information. Information. You won't get it.
The Platform.
112 time, 0800 debate is our number, 5050 on the text. Already coming in thick and fast for Rhys Walsh. Good to see him copping a 3-game ban since the first. Yeah, he deserves it, says another one.
Hey, harsh.
And also, as far as the All Black jersey goes, $210 if you want to wear the one with the ergonomic side panels that the players wear. $210, $150 for a supporters jersey. In this day and age, in these harsh economic climes, $210, you go to the supermarket, you come back with one bag of food. I mean, what, $210 for a new All Blacks jersey? And who designed it? Huh?
Well, I've got that answer right here, Martin. Let me start off, actually, with the All Blacks jersey for 2023 for this year's Rugby World Cup, unveiled this morning. For myself, for you, and for many people on social media, We don't like this jersey. It is not a good-looking jersey.
It's just a try-hard garment. You've done way too much to it. Why do you have to squiggle it up and just stop it? Make it black with an All Blacks thing on it.
Yeah, not cheap either, as you say. $210 for the performance version, $150 for the supporters version. By comparison, a Warriors jersey is $180. Just saying. The jersey was built upon insights and testing feedback from the All Blacks and includes ergonomic side panels, as you say, in the abdominal area for a tight three-dimensional fit. Adidas were assisted in the design by an emerging Parisian-based street-style designer called Faye the Wolf, who was known for his distinctive and creative use of black. Okay. Well,
what a load of pony. What a load of
It looks like a Cabana shirt you'd take on a cruise, for goodness sake. It just looks terrible.
Why would you get a French guy to do a French rap artist? Is there nobody in New Zealand that is capable of assisting?
He's not a rap artist, to be fair. He's
Well,
he's an
whatever he
artist.
is. He's an artist, is he?
He's good with the colour black. Wow. What can you do with black? It's
I
not
think
very
everyone
versatile.
is. What you do is it's black and then you put black next to it. Yes. How creative.
All Blacks captain Sam Cane has leapt to the defence of under-fire referee Ben O'Keefe following the tirade of abuse directed his way after the Super Rugby Pacific final. Cane had this to say: "The referees do an outstanding job in what's probably one of the toughest jobs in sport, and they play such a vital role from the grassroots all the way up to our footy. There's an old saying that you don't have a game without them, and no one deserves to cop that sort of abuse. Everyone goes out there to do the very best they can. They're no different to us as players. They've got to make split-second decisions." Well, it would have been nice if this support was thrown Ben O'Keefe's way immediately after full time.
Because do remember, Clayton McMillan criticised him afterwards. And I'm not saying there's a link between what McMillan said and the way that the fans went off afterwards. Or they're not fans. Those people that trolled him up, that trolled Ben, they aren't fans. But yeah, maybe some calm heads needed to prevail at the time. Because, Chiefs, you didn't lose it because of the ref, okay? Simple as that.
The All Blacks, more news to do with the All Blacks. They've called up prop Tavita Mafaleo, Hurricanes prop, as injury cover in the squad to travel to Argentina for their opening match of the Rugby Championship next weekend. Fletcher Newell is still working his way back to full fitness. A spot of bother for South African first hive Handré Pollard. He will miss the Rugby Championship with a calf injury and could be in doubt for the Rugby World Cup. Director of Rugby for South African Rugby, Rassie Erasmus concedes the loss of his first choice number 10 is a big worry. A pair of poor results for two of our women's national sides competing across the globe. The women's Black Sticks have been walloped in the FIH Pro League match-up with the newly crowned champions, the Netherlands, losing 7-1. It's their sixth consecutive loss. They sit second to last on the FIH Pro League ladder. Meanwhile, the White Ferns have suffered an historic defeat, losing to Sri Lanka for the very first time. They lost by 9 wickets with an over to spare in a match that was 28 overs, rain shortened, completed earlier today. The schedule for the 2023 Men's ODI Cricket World Cup has been unveiled, and as previously reported, the Black Caps opened the tournament playing the team they lost to in the 2019 decider. New Zealand playing England on the 5th of October, which I believe is a Thursday. Here's the full schedule here. We play a qualifier in our second game. We've got Bangladesh after that, then Afghanistan, then India. We play India on October 22nd, Australia October 28th, South Africa November 1, Pakistan November 4. Those are 4 straight really tough games. They'll finish off with a qualifier in their final group game before the finals, should the Black Caps make that. For the time being, Martin, that's what's making news.
Devlin,
Oh my goodness me!
the platform.
The All Blacks loose forward trio. Who are your starting 3? Jeff Wilson on the breakdown the other night said, Artie's got to be benched. Well, the expert, the man who changed the position, Murray Mextier, legendary All Black, his thoughts on this equation.
It's interesting, isn't it? You know, Jeff was an outstanding rugby player and he's now become a fantastic colour commentator. And I guess it's provocative. Commentators sometimes feel they have to be provocative, and I think that's one of those comments, you know. And he's talking about a position that he, you know, he's not an expert in, he's never played in. He was a great finisher and try scorer, and actually quite creative finisher as well. But I don't think he knows the art of loose forwards. If you asked him what the role of the 6th, the 7th and the 8th were, and it's not just Jeff, it's any commentator that plays on the outside backs. And you'll notice at the moment at Sky, most of them are outside backs. Molly Aina, JK, another example, Carlton Ana. So, you know, they don't necessarily know about the role of those various loose forward positions. And I think that Artie, and I do know about that role, and I know Artie Severe because he attended Irons. And he is, by the way, the role of the open side flanker and the number 8 is to retain possession when we've got it and regain possession when the opposition have got it. So you've actually got to be a bit of a hunter and a gatherer. You've got to be targeting that ball, and you've got to make sure we keep it. Now, Artie's great in that area of the game. Sam Cane is fantastic as well. You know, so those and I actually think Blackadder, that's his best position because he's a hunter and a gatherer as well. And those guys stand out. Christie also is very, very good at that role from Canterbury. He's a bit smaller than the other guys, but he's very good at it. So we've got plenty of open side flankers. We haven't got too many number 8s. And that's where I see a problem, because when you play the big boys, and if you're going to the Rugby Championship is the big boys most of the time, but certainly the Rugby World Cup, when you're playing teams like England, you know, and France, and even Ireland now these days, they have got at least 3 and often 4 players who are capable of winning the ball in the air. And at the moment, we, you know, with playing Artie at 8, we need a very big and dominant blindside flanker who can join, you know, Whitelock and join the great locks that we have. We have 3 outstanding locks, don't we? Retallick, Whitelock and Barrett. Barrett also, I think, would be an outstanding blindside flanker. But, you know, the business about the loose forwards is that Artie can play the same role at 8 as he can at 7, which puts pressure on the opposition when they have the ball and make sure we retain possession and go forward when we've got the ball. So I think he's fantastic in both positions. The challenge is to get enough people that can win the ball in the air because he's probably not big enough to compete against, you know, like, for example, the French number 8. You know, he's 6'6". Kieran Reid was 6'6". Artie's about 6'3" at the most. You know, it's one of those positions that we don't seem to have too many guys around with a lot of height. And because of that, Artie becomes the best player at that position.
All right, Mex, then pick them then. I mean, you're starting, obviously you've got your 7 and your 8 anchored in there, and so you're not playing Artie off the bench. You've got Scott Barrett as he will be, you know, available off the bench if we want him to come that, or do you select him at 6, or are you looking at Dalton or Frizzell or Finau at 6?
Okay, so well, you've got to start at the beginning. You've got to start at 7, and who's going to be the first guy to the breakdown? And without a doubt, you know, Sam Cane is that man that I would put in the team right now. The other guy that's probably the second best in the country at that is Christie. He hasn't made it, so we can't talk about him. And then the next guy is Artie Severe. So, you know, I think it's natural for both those two to play until some big guy who's 6'6", 6'5", maybe we'll get away with that, 6'5" or 6'6", who can win the ball in the air, until he stands up and says, I'm your number 8. Artie's the best man in that role, and he will be totally supportive of what Cane is capable of doing at that nitty-gritty area that's so important to rugby success. You don't win games unless you're bloody good at that breakdown area. Jacobson's in the loop, but he's the same size as Artie Severe. You know, there's bugger all difference between the two, maybe half an inch is all there is. So therefore you've got to say who's the best at that number 8 position now if Sam Cane's at open side. So I would pick Sam Cane at open side flanker. My backup open side flanker would be Artie Severe. I'd pick Artie Severe as my number 8. My backup number 8 would be Papa Lee, although he hasn't played enough games there, and I'd be getting him to focus on the breakdown, the tackle area. Moving to the blindside flanker, these two, Finau, I mean, they're very much in the same line, aren't they, these two players, Frizzell and Finau. Jacobson, I reckon, could play open side flanker equally as well as he's playing number 8. So I think he's in the mix too. But to me, Cane, Severe, and on the way Finau played in the semi-final and when he came on the final, you'd have to play him on the blind side. If if you didn't play Barrett. And, there is a school of thought where if you play Retallick and Sam Whitelock and you put Barrett on the blind side, that would be pretty bloody powerful combination, and it would probably make up for Artie Severe's lack of height at the number 8 position.
To hear the full interview, download the platform at the App Store. Via Platform Plus, you can go back and listen to the whole show and all of the interviews in full. I get to decide. I get to choose the loose forward trio. I get to choose why I'm choosing the loose forward trio. But I will take on board opinion from others, Lachlan. And so, first question is, Mex or Jeff?
Mex.
I think goes without saying, doesn't it? And that's no disrespect to Jeff Wilson, but I think that when it comes to loose forwards, Mex actually does have a little bit more insight into what the positions, I say plural, need. Your loose forward trio to start against Argentina. Not who you think, not who you'd love, nothing like that. Your loose forward trio that starts that game. And then I'm going to ask you who Ian Foster is going to pick to start the game.
This is the thing. Am I picking what my loose forward trio would be?
Loose forward trio.
So I'm ignoring previous bias. Well, my loose forward trio. Now, Blackadder won't be healthy for that first match, will he? Because he's my blind side. My Sam Cane starts at open side, absolutely. I want to say Luke Jacobson, I really do.
Well, you're choosing your Ian Foster. You can do what you want, mate. You're the All Black coach until the end of the World Cup.
I'd start Luke Jacobson at number 8 and I'd start Saba Penifino at blindside.
Next! Well, I'm going to choose two of those three. I'm going to start Sam Cane. I'm going to go with that number 6 as well, because you got Scott Barrett off the bench, who is going to provide cover for 6 and for locks. I'm presuming Sam Whitelock is going to start, and I'm starting Artie at 8.
Of course you are. Artie.
You
love Artie, don't
I
you?
love Artie, and I want Artie to start at 8. I don't think that Jacobson provides the explosive power that we need at the moment. I think he's a damn good option. But I just think that in terms of the athleticism that the All Blacks are going to need, because we're going to have to play smarter than these other teams. These other teams, your Irelands, your France, your South Africa, they're going to want to draw us into a bully boy battle because it slows us down. To win a World Cup, especially over there in the Northern Hemisphere, we're going to have to produce rugby that only the All Blacks are capable of.
Okay, I'll say this. So Jacobson is about 4 or 5 centimetres taller than Artie Savi, and he's got a much bigger frame as well. So he does have a size advantage. And, well, fair enough. But, I mean, nothing against Artie Savi. When you're talking about playing the Islands and the Frances of the world and England as well, there's teams with big loose forwards, and in South Africa. It's not as if Artie has made such an impact against those teams over the last couple of years that we've gone away from those matches going, oh, geez, okay, well,
But true, but I don't think we can also be sucked into the same headspace that they are in and trying to pick players that match them player for player.
Well, it's not match them player.
We don't physically have those guys.
Finding an option in those positions that could work because the options that we've used the last couple of years haven't worked.
I agree. Next! Now you're going to tell me who Ian Foster chooses, his loose forward trio to play Argentina.
Kane at open side, Artie at number 8, and it'll be either Frizzell or Scott Barrett.
He's going to go Frizzell.
Yeah,
I
don't think he's shown a lot of loyalty to Shannon Frizzell.
I think he's got to go Frizzell because again, Scott Barrett can play that position. So finally, when it comes to the loose forward trio, who is your bench? And remember, we do carry the luxury, as I said to Mix there, the 5-3 split means that we can have 2 loose forwards in there because one of them can cover lock. And Scott Barrett,
if Scott Barrett's on the bench, that is.
And we are presuming that Brodie and Sam Whitelock play lock, okay? That's what we're presuming. Even though at the moment, Sam Whitelock apparently can't train. His Achilles is all sore again. But anyway.
Well, that's the thing. He probably won't play that first test. Just give him a rest.
Let's hope that he does. Scott Barrett is on the bench.
Well, I hope that he doesn't. I don't want him to aggravate that Achilles.
Actually, I didn't think of that. Yeah, good point, actually.
So this is why
if Scott Barrett is locked, then you've got 2 more loose forwards on the bench.
No, you don't. No, you don't have 2 loose forwards. You've got a lock and a loose forward.
Well, who's your
Scott Barrett's starting at lock.
Who's your other lock?
So the lock on the... so who's in the team? Tupuvai. It'll be Tupuvai.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, it'll be him. And then the loose forward... so if it's what I think Ian Foster will pick with Shannon Frizzell, is it my bench or Fozzie's bench?
Well, it's your Ian Foster, mate.
Okay, so it's Ian Foster's bench. So this is assuming Frizzell, Kane, and Xavier are starting. Okay, Luke Jacobson's a loose forward off the bench, I think.
138. Your thoughts on this? Most welcome. 0800 debate. That's 0800 332 283 or 5050. Also, in question, the All Blacks' new jersey. No, I just don't. No.
One-year deal. No.
I don't like it. And I'm not meant to like it, and I don't have to like it. And I'm not sitting here as a cheerleader saying just because it's the All Black jersey, I like it. We have gone to World Cups with really naff jerseys before, 1999, and the climber light intrusion, protrusion. You remember those little sort of eagle feet bollock things on the side for extra traction, climber light? Oh, just stop it, mate. And this one, the collar, it's just gimmicky. Just go back to tradition. This is what happens when you've got 24-year-olds running the marketing department, and they all think that their job is to do something new. No, it's not. Your job is to preserve what is really cool and what always has been cool. That All Black jersey stands alone. It doesn't need little squiggles from Faye the Field Mouse or whatever your dickhead name is from their French design company. But just stop it, mate. Stop overthinking it. It's an All Black jersey. That's what it is. It's black. It's got an All Black thing on it. It's got a World Cup thing on it. Whoever manufactures it, Adidas or whatever, the best thing about the All Black jersey is there's no sponsor on it. But the rest of it, you can shove it. Warriors captain Tohu Harris joining us, talking about the season up-to-date Rabbits game Friday night. Talk to me about this season. Talk to us about this season. Where you are right now, 9 wins and 6 losses. You're the captain. How do you define where the team is right now?
I think we've done a really good job of giving ourselves an opportunity. We're sitting in a really good position, and at the same time, we know that there's still heaps for us to improve on, and so that's just been the focus every week is being a better team than the week before, and I thought we've done a good job of that. We've progressed really well through the season, and we've managed to come away with some results.
What do you like especially about what you're improving upon? What aspects of the game?
I think I like the fact that we're improving on the things that we identify. So whatever we identify from the week before, we come out the next week and we get better at that. I think that's a really good sort of trait to have, because if we're not improving at the things we identify on, then I don't think we will be making the progress that we need to be playing at the end of the year. So I like the fact that whatever we're focusing on, that we pinpoint, we're getting better at that.
Tohu, defence. Let's talk about that for a start. This is such a marked improvement on last season and previous seasons as well. Since your time at the Warriors, have you seen a Warriors side defend like this?
No, not since I've been here, and it's been really fun, to be honest. To know that we sort of can defend some tough situations and turn some good sides away, and then on the flip side go down the other end and score some points. It makes the game really fun, and it makes you want to do it more.
How much more fun is it when you're winning?
Yeah, it makes a big difference.
Yeah, and look, and beating the teams that we're beating as well. What is the key to going overseas, going to Australia and winning away from home? Because it had been so long.
Just like I said before, it doesn't matter what field we're playing on, where we're playing on, the focus of improving those things on the field, because the location really doesn't really matter. There's things that have to go into account in terms of recovery, and we've got a really good performance staff to sort of take care of that for us. But yeah, it's any time that we step on a patch of grass, we've got to get better at something, and we've got to do our jobs, and that hasn't changed wherever we've played, whether it's home or away.
Tohu, how has your role as captain changed, or has it changed this year, do you think?
It's been really good, to be honest. Webby and the coaching staff, they do so much to prepare us. They don't leave any stones unturned, and then also in the playing group, we've got a lot of experienced guys like Wade, Sean, Barney, Adam. There's a whole lot of guys there that I can name that have a lot of experience, and they take care of certain areas in the team, and then, like I mentioned before, Webby, he's so it covers everything. So it makes my job really easy. I just got to first and foremost go out there and do my job.
What do you say to your team before you go out on the field? Are you a big motivational talker, or I mean, like you lead obviously by example when you're playing, but do you say a lot beforehand?
I speak a few times before the game and the last huddle before we go out, but it'll change from week to week depending on what our goals are or who we're playing and what the situation is. It's not really the same every week. It sort of depends on the situation. Like if we have milestones, then that's when I will sort of point that out. Like that's the reason why we want to put the effort in to make it a memorable moment for whoever's milestone it is, or depending on who we're playing or where we're playing. Those sorts of things sort of come into account.
I think Webby described the fans as lunatics in the most loving possible way. It just must be such a buzz walking out there, running out there in front of 20,000 people. How do you feel about that? Do you feel, is it like you don't want to let people down, or as you say, you're more embracing the moment, saying, this is fun, man?
Yeah, we're embracing it. Every single person in the club is enjoying it. We love that the game this weekend is sold out already.
Sold out a week ago. Brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, it's it excites us and we really look forward to it, and we honestly can't wait to run out on Mount Smart, and it's going to be insane, and we love the fans. We love it when they get noisy and they ride the Warriors home.
To hear the full interview, download the platform at the App Store. Via Platform Plus, you can go back and listen to the whole show and all of the interviews in full. We've got the All Black jersey to talk about. Yeah. Yeah. Ah, boy. You know, you sit here and I just wonder who sits around the table. Who sits around the table at New Zealand Rugby headquarters and says, yeah, that jersey looks good. Yeah, Faye the Wolf. He's the perfect designer to design the new jersey. Who makes these decisions? And Mark Robinson is the CEO. I mean, by God, man. I mean, this is why you shouldn't be doing the job. I mean, you're the CEO of New Zealand Rugby. New Zealand Rugby is all and only about the All Blacks. Without the All Blacks, there's a brand. That's what you're selling. That's what Silver Lake is selling. Why are you doing a gimmick jersey for the World Cup? Why are you sending our players over there in what looks like a pajama top, mate? Surely, Lachlan, somebody must sit around the table and go, no. The Emperor's got no pants on. There's his dick. Right there. It's called the new jersey. You and your silly Faye the dumb dog howling wolf bollocks, get out. I'll design it. It's black. It's got an all black thing on it.
Yeah, why do you have to change the design every year? Why? Every time we have a World Cup. I remember when
they're trying to cash in, mate.
When the 2019 one came out, I thought, well, it's nice, it's kind of cool, but why do we have to have this weird silver fern thing going on?
Exactly.
We just have plain black. 2011 was plain black with
and
a white collar.
And all this Climber-Light infused special grip technology, Polly, just stop it, mate. Does anyone believe this apart from yourselves? No. I mean, this is, to me, what reality TV should be. They should have cameras on during these meetings. I would pay to watch this because I don't think you could get any better comedy, could you? Just watching the utter incompetence and then watching the rest of the donutters who sit there and no one's prepared to say anything in case you're being negative. Yeah. No, I'm not. You're being a twat. That's what it is.
Yeah, you put your hand up. So I don't think those panels are really that necessary.
No.
Shut up, Martin. They'll influence the players.
Is it really? Do you honestly think that Faye the Wolf from France, that anyone in New Zealand even knows who this clown is, let alone gives us stuff whether he designs the jersey? How much did you pay him to do that? How much money does not go into club rugby because
he paid? Is it going to be one of these New Zealand Rugby mural things where he has to touch up the jerseys on field?
The greatest thing about he does. The jersey code, he's got to actually have a seamstress sitting on the sideline and somebody to repaint the swirly twirlies.
Yeah. Oh, the black's not quite black enough. Let me just repaint that. Then this is in the contract.
Did you know that Faye the Wolf, he's an expert in black? Really? I'm going to do the Simon Barnett. Really? You see the night sky? That's an expert in black, isn't it? Andy Raymond Unfiltered joins us, as he always does on Wednesday. Rhys Walsh then, he cops a 3-week ban. A couple of aspects to this. I think that's fair. I think that, yes, when you listen to it, look, the young man does have form now, and maybe this is what he actually needs because he's going to miss Origin. He's going to miss a couple of crucial games for the Broncos. But the other aspect to this is when you read the transcripts from the judiciary, it's a sitcom, isn't it? You can't write comedy like this. The testimony from Carrigan and Fafita is just laugh out loud laughable.
Does Pat Carrigan and David Fafita then potentially get charged with contrary conduct themselves, basically telling fibs?
Should.
I mean, that's effectively what the judiciary has said. A couple of things on this, mate, and we were having a discussion before this game with a group of former players and administrators. And the Reece Walsh story is the story of 2023 so far, but it comes with some significant alarm bells. He's out of control, and that might not be his personal life, but that's his professional life. We could see something like this coming. I mean, sent off from Origin and geeing up the crowd, and he's into refs and he's into everyone. And good on the kid. When you're playing good football, you can do as you want, and the others just have to cop it. But this is a different young kid, mate. He's one night away from disaster. And in the mood that he showed on the weekend, I think there's some significant alarm bells. What I'm going to suggest, though, is instead of being negative and saying he's got it in him to make us stuff up, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt for the second time, because the first time involved and involved the police. So I'm going to give him a benefit of the doubt the second time and say this is part of the learning curve that we all go on as young men, that we make mistakes, we regret them, we learn from them, and we move on. But two pretty significant mistakes that Reece has learned in public. I'm going to turn it this way for you. I think the Warriors may have dodged a little bit of a bullet. I really do. As good as he's playing, as talented as he is, there's a part of me that's saying he's a firecracker waiting to explode.
Look, I'm not denying any of that. I think that's absolutely fair. I think your assessment is entirely fair. Again, when you're looking at somebody that is that age, and I look at my two sons who are 22 and 20, I look at myself at that time. I'm not a great, probably, example to raise, given my behaviour.
Likewise.
Same, around those ages. Yep. And you are thrust into the spotlight. You are also surrounded by a lot of sycophants. And with social media these days, you're getting pretty girls sliding into your DMs. Not that you and me even know what that means, mate, but I always read that phrase and I think it sounds exciting and it sounds like something I wish I had at that age. And you, all of a sudden you've got a lot of hangers on, you've got a lot of friends. You get offered a lot of different things, like he had the cocaine at the nightclub, all of these different things. These are all tempters and they're all temptations. And it is natural for a young man who is full of testosterone and the young dumb full of, and all of that kind of stuff. It is natural. If he wasn't in the public eye, the spotlight, there is, 500,000 of him doing this kind of stuff every weekend. And we know that throughout Australia, throughout the world, all of that. There are massive responsibilities that you have to then absorb because you are a very highly paid professional in this position. All I'm trying to say in a very long-winded way, I endorse everything that you've said, and I do think that this punishment is a natural part of that, and hopefully he's not going to do a Jama rant and we're going to see it again, because the tragedy with that young basketballer is this guy's, I think on a road to nowhere. He's getting paid $150 million. He's got a whole lot of loser mates who think that they're gangster boys. He's waving guns every time he gets into a video. So let's just compare Rhys Walsh to that. But giving a referee a spray is one thing. Then I think, there's another aspect to it. I would have just liked him to affront that judiciary, and instead of getting two mates who, completely cocked it up because they were the worst ever to give evidence, he should have just maybe put his hand up, got some good advice and said, listen, I apologise, I'm sorry. If this is what the charge is, I accept it completely. I'm not going to argue about it. The refs deserve better than that, regardless of whether I think I was saying it to somebody else. I don't care. I deserve better. I would have liked that from him. So maybe that's the only criticism I actually have of this.
I would have loved to have seen that come out of his mouth last night at the judiciary. And to be honest, I would have thought there's some old enough heads around him to advise him that probably is the best course of action. Look, it's easy to blow up and then turn around and try and play the blame game. Jerome Luai did it with his Instagram post last week. You know, he came out and said, ha, you know, you've all got to work tomorrow. Basically, who are the losers and who's the winner? And then he, you know, but I was receiving nasty messages.
Yeah,
and this was only for garbage. One thing we learn in our journey, and look, I'm a late learner and a late maturer, and I'm still learning lessons. But the one thing we do learn is when you make a mistake, as hard as it is, as uncomfortable or fit as it is, you've just got to own up. I mean, that's the best course of action. You own up, you go and sit at home that night and you think, shit, I'm not going to do that again. I'm better than this. Let's move on.
Black Ferns in action tomorrow night. This is the first time that we've seen our world champions since that glorious final win last year. Georgia Ponsonby played hooker that night, back in action against Oz tomorrow night. When you started playing Farah Cup for Manawatu 2017, I mean, that was your last year at Fielding High School. So the only reason I'm mentioning this is because you were so young. You know, I mean, you're young now, but you were a little baby back then, weren't you?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that seems so long ago. Yeah, playing for Fielding, I actually visited them just the other day with the cup, which was pretty special. But yeah, that was really cool playing for Manawatu. I'd love to go back there one day and play for my home province. But yeah, no, I've been a Canterbury girl for 6 years now, so a bit torn really.
What have the new coaches brought, and also how difficult or not has it been to kind of move on from Wayne and when you had Ted and Chrono there and those guys and move into this new group?
Yeah, they were huge last year. They were such a fun, awesome guys, and we just learnt so much from them. But we've just got such an awesome coaching group this year. Mullies and Jacko and TC have just brought a bunch of knowledge and energy. They're just really fun guys, and they've definitely doing well with this group so far. And we lost Chrono, but we've got Dan Cron now, the son, so that's pretty awesome having him on board as our scrum coach, and he's doing awesome things with us. So honestly, I love our coaching group so much. It's they're doing great things, and miss Smithy and Ted a wee bit, miss the Ted talks, but they're always sticking around. I think always bump into them here and there.
Georgia, how do you get yourself ready, prepare yourself emotionally, mentally for games like this? And also, what's the most important thing to you when you first get on that field? Do you like to get physical? Do you like to get your hands on the ball and get stuck into it straight away?
Yeah, I think that's really important to just those first, few minutes are quite important to get into the game. Some games don't allow you to do that, so I guess sometimes you've got to find other ways to get stuck in if it doesn't go your way in those areas. But for me, it's just it's the whole week. It's not just the game day. It's the whole week, preparing, slowly building up till the captain's run the day before, and then sort of that night, and then that morning. The whole game day just it's a vibe as you build into the actual game, and then. Yeah, I guess in the warm up and things, you put a few hits on, and I think just putting on the black jersey, and having the fern on your chest is just a huge motivator that you kind of just come into a whole another person. We talk about, which is naturally, I guess anyone would feel as they pull on any black jersey when they go out and represent their country. It's just a really special feeling. Yeah.
How much practice do you do individually as well as your training and stuff like that? I mean, I'm just talking about, making sure that your drills are right, your throwing's right, it's all accurate, all of that kind of stuff. How much time do you spend? Yeah,
quite a bit. I'll usually make sure I'll get in sort of at least 50 throws each training. And then if I'm sort of not feeling like that's enough, or if I'm not happy, then I'll do some more sort of in our days off and things. With the other hookers, but quite a bit.
Sounds it. Sounds it.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I bet it's like any basketball player. As soon as that ball releases from your hand, whether it's good or not, don't you?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. One finger that's sort of misplaced or doesn't follow through properly, you'll see it in the throw. Yeah, definitely.
So exciting that you're back and that the team's playing again. And, is it easy or is it difficult or what? To go from the euphoria last year where you run out onto a packed house, you've got 1 million plus people watching. And I don't know how many are going to turn up this time or whatever, but is it hard to get your head around that? I mean, you go from those absolute highs and then whatever the reality is next.
Yeah, I mean, those crowds during the World Cup were just insane. They were amazing. It was so special, and like you said, I don't know when we'll experience crowds like that again. But I think, it's cool to be over here in Aussie, and I'm looking forward to seeing, what fan base do come out and support the game on Thursday. But either way, I think it won't affect our game. It'll obviously it's really cool to have fans in the stand and family in the stands. I think a few of the girls have quite a bit of family over here, but I think at the end of the day we're just there to get a job done, with or without fans and the crowds. But yeah, I'm really excited to see who turns up for our game against Aussie. Hopefully we get good numbers show up, and it'll be a cool evening.
That's our podcast for today. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to listen to the entire show, 1 till 4, Monday to Friday, download the Platform app, and via Platform Plus, you can go back and listen to whatever shows over however many weeks at your leisure, at your listening pleasure. Platform Plus. First thing to do, though, is download the Platform app.
Devlin.
That is a disgusting act.
The Platform.